Okay, this video is going to contain the solutions for 2c and 2d on the review. Okay, so let's look at 2c from the review. It says to state the amplitude and period of each function and construct one period of the graph. So one period is one pattern. So the amplitude is the number in front. If it's negative, we would have to take the absolute value, but this is already positive, so our amplitude is just 2. The period is divided by the number that is in front of the variable. So we have 2 pi, which is the usual period of a trig function. If we're going to divide by pi, we'd have 2 pi divided by pi, so the period is 2. So now we won't have any pi's in our graph, which is actually kind of nice. So when we make our graph, there's no vertical or horizontal shift. There's no phase shift. There's no vertical shift. So when we make this, we'll start at 0. It'll end at 2. Half of 2 is 1. In between 0 and 1, halfway is 0.5. And halfway in between 1 and 2 is 1.5. So there's our graph. This is a sine function, so we're going to use the sine pattern that starts with a 0, then 1, 0, -1, and 0. The only thing that's changing is the 2 in front, so the amplitude gets multiplied, and our new pattern is 0, 2, 0, -2, and 0. So we graph those. At 0, we'll have 0. At 0.5, we will have 2. At 1, we will have 0. At 1.5, we'll have -2. And at 2, we will again have 0. And so we connect those dots. It's a nice little sine curve for you there. And there's our graph. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at 2D as well. So here's 2D, same thing. We're looking at the amplitude as the number in front. So our amplitude is 2. Cosine of 2/3 x plus 2. So 2/3 will impact the period of this function. So 2 pi divided by 2/3. So we keep change flip and we have 2 pi times 3/2. The 2's cancel and our period is 3 pi. Okay, so from there, we can construct a graph. We will have a vertical shift, okay, going up 2. There's no phase shift, so no side to side. So when we draw our graph, we can be confident that we're starting at 0. We're ending at 3 pi. Half of that is 3 pi over 2, because that's divided by 2, divided in half. Halfway in between 0 and 3 pi over 2, to take half, you just multiply the denominator by 2. So we will have 3 pi over 4, which that is what it is, no simplifying necessary, so 3 pi over 4. And we add 3 pi over 4 and 3 pi over 2 to get our final increment. So they need common denominator. This will be a 4, so times 2 is 6. 3 plus 6 is 9 pi over 4 is our final increment here. Okay, so we take our cosine pattern and starts with 1, 0, -1, 0, 1. And we have an amplitude of 2, so we multiply this by 2 and we get 2, 0, -2, 0, 2. And it's also going to be going up 2. So when we add 2 to that pattern, we will get 4. 0, 4, 2, 0, 2, and 4. Okay, so once we add 2, we have done our amplitude and our vertical shift, and we've accommodated for the period. There is no phase shift. So it's going to go up to 4. So we need to have a 1, 2, 3, 4 on our graph. and it's only going to go down to 0, so we don't need anything else. We're going to plot those points. So we're going to have at 0, it's going to be 4, and then at 2, and then at 0, back up to 2, back up to 4, and we connect those points. Whoops, let's redraw that. That went a little crazy. Connect those points for our sine function, or cosine function, excuse me. So there it is. There's our graph, and we are done.